know yourself, with, you know, 3 kids, it's that's where your head's at.
Well, of course, the fallout from it has been immense. Once I announced on radio here that you were going to be my guest for this series, I was getting messages from all over the world in French and Spanish. I think Greek popped up as well. Such was the impact, the impatience that obtained out there. When is the interview taking place? Where is it taking place? Are you holding them back? What's going on?
Yeah.
What is it like for you coping with that out there?
I'm not aware of it because...
How would you not be aware of it?
Because I'm not on social media. So I honestly just don't, and that's a decision. I used to be, as you know, you were the first person I ever followed when I was on Twitter. But I've made a choice to not be involved in it anymore, and my whole thing was, there's a lot about all that you're talking about, and all that attention and scrutiny and opinion that I don't think is that healthy to be aware of, especially when it concerns your family at times and your daughters, and sometimes by being on there you're open to that and you can see that. So I think my thing was just build a wall, take down all of that, and don't let people in, because if that's how people behave, I don't really want to be supporting it.
So are you anti-social media?
I'm not anti it. I understand why it works for certain people, and I think it's necessary in many forms, and for news outlet I think it's great, and some of the content's brilliant, and it's probably done very good things for a lot of people. It's a personal thing for everyone. For me, I got to a point where I was like, I've a million reasons why now this isn't right for me.
What do you make of Donald Trump's habitual tweeting, allegedly spending several hours each morning instead of reading documents and papers? What about that? What do you think of that?
I think he'd probably be using his time slightly better, is what I think. I've got lots of opinions on Donald Trump that we probably shouldn't get into.
Let's hear them. Let's hear them.
It's not the right platform.
Are you likely to play golf with them?
Possibly not.
If he invited you to play golf, would you play with them?
That's the thing. It's very hard. I mean, you know, Rory had this issue, and I was speaking to Rory
McIlroy.
Rory McIlroy. You're put in quite a tricky situation there when the leader of the free world comes and asks you if you want to play a game of golf, and if you just say that it's just a game of golf and you don't attach anything else to it, and political views and all of that, then it is just a game of golf, and where's the harm in that? And but then everything gets so blown up now, and social media is part of that, definitely. So
would you have the strength of character to say no?
I don't think he's going to ask me, so I think I'm all right.
Presumably he did ask you.
I honestly don't know. I think it'd be really interesting to play around the golf with him. You know, I don't think there's one policy that he has that I'm in any form of agreement with, but it would certainly be interesting. That doesn't mean it wouldn't be an interesting person to play around the golf with.
When it came to playing Mr. Grey and all that, did you have any reservations at all, allowing yourself to enter into that world of raunchy sexual environment and that type of thing? Did you think twice about that? Did you have second thoughts? Did you reflect on family attitudes and everything when you were confronted with this challenge?
Mm-hmm. No.
Why was that?
Not at all. Because, you know, my dad's one of the most liberal people I've ever met. And, you know, my whole defence of 50 Shades is that it's consensual. And by the way, like S&M, that type of sex, whatever, it's not for everyone. It's not for me personally, but lots of people enjoy it, and it exists. We haven't made it up. We're not forcing it down people's throat. It exists. It's a real thing, and lots of people love it, and we're just, you know, portraying that. So I think it's harmless, to be honest.
How does your wife Millie cope with all the waves of temptation out there for you? How does she keep her head sane with all this attention, this adulation that you receive?
I think we've made life choices that protect us from a lot of what you're saying. We've made a choice to live in the countryside, kind of in the middle of nowhere. and that's where we want to raise our kids. Neither of us are on social media. I think you can. It's a funny thing with fame or attention or whatever, public attention, whatever you want to call it. I think you can make it worse for yourself if you choose to, and you can peacock a little bit, and you can be seen at this place and that place and make sure at this event and live in this part of town and be on social media and follow these kind of people and tweet this kind of thing and again, like, I'm not like, if that's the way you want to be, fine. But as I say, I've made a choice for my family, and collectively, Millie and I have made a choice that isn't how we want to be. So I think we protect ourselves from it a bit. And I know Millie has not seen any of the movies. I doubt she ever will. We sort of joke about watching them in our sort of 80s.
Why would your wife not look at you in playing one of the highest profile roles in the world?
There's plenty of sex in those movies. I just don't know why you'd want to watch your husband simulate sex with someone else for 40 minutes out of an hour and a half movie. I just yeah, I mean, she's so supportive about the whole thing. She's been with me the entire time we've been shooting them. She comes to set on certain days when we're not doing certain scenes. Her and Dakota have an amazing relationship. They're very close, and so it supports in every way. Comes to the premiere. I don't watch the movie at the premiere. I always have to go off and do press or something anyway, and I've usually seen it by that point. So it just has served her not to watch them.
Does it concern you, the fact that Oscars and BAFTAs have eluded you up until this point?
I got nominated for a BAFTA.
But you haven't won a BAFTA. You haven't won an Oscar. Does
I'm
that
still quite young.
concern
I'm
you?
still quite young.
You're still travelling in hope, is that what you're saying?
No, it's funny, those sort of things. I was always like, I don't really care about any of that stuff. I really didn't think I cared until I was nominated for a BAFTA for the first series of The Fall, and I was there, and it wasn't until the night I got there, and we were at the BAFTAs, and I went, you know what, I want to win this. I'm a competitive person. I'm always competitive, with sport and stuff, and I was just like, why wouldn't I want? I feel like I should want to win this, and I did want to win it, and then I was, I got over it very quickly. I don't dwell much on stuff, but but I was annoyed for a second that I didn't win. But every single job you do, you've got to improve on your last, and you've got to think, you've got to do it better, and every job's got to be the best job you ever do. I feel so. Hopefully, those sort of, as much as I like to think I don't care about that, hopefully those things will come back around at some stage.
Do you think you're a good actor?
I think I'm serviceable. I think the fact that I'm employed a lot at the moment must mean that I've got something to offer. I've never watched myself and thought, God, that's good, But I'm aware that, through other people's reactions and through things like being nominated for BAFTA, that other people deem you to be good. So I take, solace from that. But you can never, you never want to believe that you've got it set, that you're like, I know what I'm doing here. I just turn up and I do this and that'll work. You've always got to be learning, I think. Do
you ever have times when you say, the hell with this for a game of darts? I think I should be doing something else. Do you ever actually think of getting out? Walking away from it all? Not now, no. I have a real thirst for it at the moment. I feel like the thing I'm working on at the moment and a movie I did, 2 movies I did last year that that whole thing of like wanting the next one to be the best one and putting more and more into it. I feel like I'm really trying to sort of fill those levels at the moment, and I want to pour everything into it, so I love it. Tell me the story, Jamie, about meeting the chef from Skull in Jordan. Mm-hmm. So I was doing A Private War. It's a movie about war correspondent Marie Colvin. And we were filming the whole thing out in Jordan up until Christmas there. And got into the hotel in Jordan at 1 o'clock in the morning. At 8 o'clock in the morning, I get a call. The hotel phone is ringing. No one knows I'm here yet, really. I'm thinking it might be production, whatever. I answer, and it's... He goes, hello, is that Jamie? I said, hi. So, this is Tom. I'm the executive chef here.
I said, oh, nice to meet you, Tom. He goes, I hear you're Irish. Yeah, I am indeed, yeah. I just want you to know that anything you need over the next month, you just let me know and I'll sort it out. And that was it. And that was just from being Irish. I just had this in with the chef, which actually worked out really well. He's from Schull in West Cork.
You declared yourself with such ease there. I'm Irish.
Mm-hmm.
Is that how you feel?
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, when people ask me where I'm from, I say Northern Ireland, because that's the truth. But when it boils down to it, and it does boil down to it a lot, because you're asked this a lot, and because when people know where you're from, if you're from Belfast, I travel all around the world, and just people want to know that very thing. Do you consider yourself Irish or British? Or they ask you Catholic or Protestant, which personally to me neither apply. And so I feel, if it comes down to it, do I feel British or Irish? I just feel Irish. A lot of that's down to so many different reasons, mostly geography, that we are an island separate from the UK. So why would you feel more connected to that other piece of land than you do to the piece of land that you're living on? Also, as you know, I'm a big rugby fan, and I've had my whole life either being in Lansdowne Road in Dublin or watching it on TV or watching it in pubs all over the world, screaming, "Go on Ireland, come on Ireland." Then how could I not call myself Irish?
Have you made any sense out of Brexit? Are you European? Are you anti-Europe? Are you Brexiteer? What are you?
I'm anti-Brexit. I am kept awake at night for what it means for this country. I can't really see a sort of sound solution. Some of the people who have a say in it over here break my heart a little bit.
You mean in Northern Ireland?
Mm-hmm. I think this is the last thing that this country needs at the moment, and I just don't see how there's a positive outcome for Northern Ireland no matter. There's lots of different, very interesting options on the table, and I think they should all be seriously considered. But who knows where we'll end up.
Jimmy, what are your biggest fears in life?
Actually, someone asked me that recently, and I didn't have an answer. I don't. The only thing that I can think of is that I fail my family, that I don't provide for my wife and my kids.
Do you ever worry, though, that in a very fickle world, against the backdrop of all the temptations out there, given the nature of the industry in which you operate, that you might fail your wife, you might fail your family? Does that concern you?
No, because I'm quite a determined person. More determined than I realised I was, certainly when I was sort of 19 and I was fittering around trying to work out what I wanted to do, and I was quite non-committal back then. But now I feel very determined to succeed. And again, maybe that thing touched on earlier about a self-belief that, if I move to London, I think things will work out, and ultimately they have to this point. I back myself that I will be able to keep the ship steady.
If you weren't an actor, what do you think you'd like to do?
Sport, some kind of sport. No, I wasn't good enough really to play any sport. I was decent at sport and at many different ones, but didn't excel at anything, and that sort of bothered me. But if you'd asked me at 16, 17, 18 what I'd be doing, I'd be amazed to hear that I wouldn't be involved in sport in some capacity. Okay, a lot of people watched Jerry Maguire and just felt they wanted to be like a sports agent. Yeah, I'm obsessed with sport.